Hey everybody, Hunter Fisher, Trapper, Trader, Guide, Scout, and Interpreter, and Country Cook, Steve Hall here in Nashville, Tennessee. Sheila's been making me laugh behind the camera back there. Hi, Sheila.
Hi.
Today we're going to make smoked salmon. There's 100 recipes out there on the internet. Some got a lot of salt, some don't have so much, some are real sweet, some are kind of dry. You can even make salmon jerky and a bunch of stuff. This is smoked salmon with a touch of sweet. I really like to do it this way. It just comes out fantastic. We just run down here to Food Lion and we get those individual packed, I think it's wild caught boneless filet salmon, and it's 2 pounds in here. And this is actually 2 bags in this bowl right here, and it'll fit in this glass container or plastic container only half the way up, so our brine will completely cover it, which is just perfect. That's why I love this little container. Now you don't want to do it in a metal bowl or anything like that because it takes on a metal taste, so you want to use glass or plastic. To start out for your brine, you want 2 quarts of ice cold water. So go ahead and put it in your container, then put it in the refrigerator and get it nice cold. I throw a few ice cubes in there just to kind of chill it down. Then we're going to put in 1 cup of kosher salt. This will shock you a little bit, but 4 cups of brown sugar. This is almost like what they call in Alaska Indian candy. I'm going to kind of stir this first a little bit, get this salt happening. And dissolve in just a little bit. I got 1 more little container to add to this. It's got my little secret ingredient in it. Let me tell you what's in it. It's right here. This beautiful little container right here has a 1/2 cup of soy sauce, 1/2 cup of lemon juice, then a tablespoon of onion powder, a tablespoon of garlic powder, and a tablespoon of black pepper. Then it has 1 cup of maple syrup. That's right, maple syrup in there. Oh man, you're going to love this smoked salmon. So let's go ahead and move this back over here in the camera shot. Let me add this wonderful stuff, which I've had actually mixed up, sitting in the refrigerator all night so that that syrup would mix in with all the seasoning. And I'm going to stir this for about 2 to 3 minutes. So instead of you listening to it go bangity bang bang, I'm going to turn the camera off. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. I want to dissolve this salt. All right, don't let it scare you. It hasn't evaporated. I put about half of it over here in this bowl because when I put the salmon in, I don't want it to overflow just in case. Now, if you sample your brine, it's fairly salty, but the fish doesn't take on that much salt, believe it or not. It's more sweet than anything else. Now, you can reduce your salt to 3/4 cup if you want. But I'm going to go ahead and get this salmon in here, and that's your choice. I know some guys drop it clear back to like a 1/2 cup of salt, but most recipes call for 2 quarts of water, 1 cup of salt. So that's where I went. And then of course the 4 cups of brown sugar, then all the other goodies, the lemon juice, the soy sauce, and the maple syrup. Don't use Mrs. Butterworth or stuff like that. That's nasty. Make sure you use 100% pure maple syrup. And looky here. Does that fit in that container? That's 4 pounds out of 2 2-pound bags, and that's perfect right there. All right, we're going to put this little lid on top of here. It's got a little locker button. I think it's for like coffee or something. I don't know, but it's plastic so you can really use it, and it's just perfect for this brine. We're going to put this in the refrigerator for 24 hours. Now see, that fit perfect in my container. Now if you have a bigger container or you want to do more fish, do a double batch. Use 4 quarts of water, 2 cups of salt, or 2 3/4 cups and all the other seasonings, and make a double batch so you can put it like in a 5-gallon pail. I've actually got a bucket over here. Hold on a second. Let me lean down and pick this up. I usually marinate a lot of stuff like turkeys and stuff that I want to have in a bigger container, and I got this at Walmart. If you go out to Walmart and go to their bakery section, they have these food safe containers which is great for brine and turkeys and stuff because this is made of food safe plastic, and usually they got either pickles or they've got frosting. Like frosting for their cakes come in these containers, and if you ask, they'll just give you one usually. And if they got to be a stiffy and charge you $3 or $5, it's worth it. But that's what I use for my bigger stuff. But right now we're going to pop this in the fridge. We'll see you tomorrow, and then we're going to show you all the procedure of rinsing off the brine and all that and getting it in the smoker, but that's tomorrow. See you then. Well, here it is back from the refrigerator after about 24 hours. Now you can brine stuff for like 4 hours or 6 or 8 or 10, and some people only do it for about 2, but I like to set it in there. I kind of do it in the evening, then about noon the next day I take it out of the fridge. Oh, that looks so good. And it smells even better. Time to take it in the kitchen, and we're going to rinse it off real good with cold water. Make sure we get all the salt off. Then we're going to lay it out on racks to dry, and we'll show you that process in just a second. All right, well, we took these babies to the sink, rinsed them off real good, patted them dry, laid them out on these racks, then turned this little fan on, blowing air real slow across the top of it for about an hour. They've got a nice little tack to them, just begging for some smoke. We're going to put them in the smoker, and speaking of smoke, that's why I got this shirt on. You're probably wondering about that. I don't wear my apron out to the smoker because that smoke kind of gets in everything, your hair, your clothes, everything. So this is kind of my sexy little Playboy smoking jacket. Yeah, I know, I hear the laughs out there. So let's get these on the smoker, and let me tell you about this. It is really tough to do salmon wrong. Some guys cook it at 200 and some degrees for like 3 hours. Some guys cook it at 170 for an hour and a half. I had a Bradley smoker for a while. I gave it away, and I had a little cookbook that came with it. And it had the neatest little kind of a step-up temperature recipe in there for smoked salmon. I never made any, but that's what I'm going to do with this. It said to go at 120 degrees for 2 hours, then 140 degrees for 2 hours, then 170 or 180 degrees for 2 hours. I can't remember what that last degrees was, but that's what I'm going to do. And don't be afraid to take a piece out of the smoker, break it off, give it a taste, see how moist it is or how dry it is for you. Some guys smoke it till it's almost like jerky. Other guys just smoke it for a little bit so it's real juicy inside. I kind of like to split the difference. The main thing I like is the smoke, the brine, and the flavor. Like I said, you almost can't do salmon wrong. So let's go ahead and get this on the smoker. Unit, once it starts producing smoke, boy, within 2 minutes it's packed full of smoke. So I'm going to kind of lie to the thing and tell it I want it to cook at 275, and when it really starts to pour the smoke, I'm going to throw the salmon in there and turn it down to 120, but it'll keep on smoking for another 4 or 5 minutes and fill the cabinet. Then as I get close to the end of my process, because I don't like tons and tons of smoke, I'm going to fill that little tube one more time, which is kind of slick with Masterbuilt because you don't have to open the door to put the pellets in. You just put it in the side and turn it, and it dumps down on the little plate that burns. I'm going to do it one more time with another load of pellets, and each one of those little tubes only holds about a half a cup of pellets, and there must be a reason for that because you really don't need tons and tons of smoke on this salmon because the flavor's good enough with all the brine and everything. Alright, she only hit about 175 degrees, and already take a look at here. See the smoke starting to pour out of it already? I'm going to close that back and let it just fill completely full of smoke. Man, oh man, can you see the smoke filling that box? Look at that. And it's only at, let's see here, 204 degrees, but it thinks it's going to 275, and it's at 5 hours and 43 minutes. So it only took about 17 minutes, because I set it on 6 hours, and now it's down to 45 or whatever. It only took about 15 minutes to get this to where it was just pouring the cobs to her. All right, man, it's been about 5 minutes. Let me turn the temp down on this thing. Crank her down to that 120, what we were looking for. Well, all right, it got dark out here, so time for the flashlight. It's been at 120. Oh, look at that. Does that look delicious or what? Sweating real nice. It's been at 120 for 2 hours. And now I'm going to kind of change gears a little bit because I like it nice and moist and delicious. I'm going to run it up to 160 for an hour, then 180 for an hour. Maybe 175 on the last hour. And you play with the temperatures yourself. Now, safe food temperatures are either below 40 degrees or above 140 degrees. In fact, if you go to some buffets and they got food, you know, being held there hot, it's usually between 140 and 165 degrees until they serve it. So you're asking, how can we lay salmon on a counter in the house at 75 degrees and blow a fan on it for an hour and a half? That's because it was brined with salt. You know, it's got all the other goodies too, the sugar and all the spices and everything, but that 1 cup of salt that was in that brine, that kills bacteria. It can't grow bacteria when it's brined with salt. That's why we can cook it for 2 hours at 120, which is 20 degrees below safe temperature. But we're getting ready to kick it up right now. Golly, that looks good in there. It's been an hour at 160 degrees, and doesn't that look fantastic? I was going to jack it to 175 or 180 and let it cook for the last hour, then add the pellets, but I'm going to do it in reverse. I'm going to take these wood pellets and I'm going to put them in the smoker for my second batch of smoke now. See if I can get her to go in there. There we go. And then I'm going to close this up and I'm going to set it at 275 degrees, in other words, wide open. It's at 220 degrees inside, and man, she is just pouring the smoke. So I'm going to set my temp now, which will kind of stop the smoke, but it'll still really roar for about 5 minutes. And go down to 175 degrees, and I'm going to be back out here checking it in about 45 minutes because it's going to have that little bump where it's probably going to run up to about 230 before it starts cooling off, and then it'll be hotter than 175. Man, look at the smoke in there. Looking good. So I just gave it 2 little batches of smoke, 2 hours at 120, an hour at 160, and about 45 minutes. Well, they actually work out to be about an hour at 175, and it's going to be done. We'll see you in an hour. All right, must be an emergency. I got one of those flashlights that flashes SOS for you. In case you didn't know, Morse code, 3 dots is an S, 3 dashes is an O, and then of course 3 dots is an S again. Here it is, dot, 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 dash, 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 dot, dot, dot. And then it just keeps repeating that. A lot of flashlights do that now. In case you're stuck in the woods and you see a car off in the distance or a plane in the sky, you can flip it to the SOS. I think it's saying that it's done. I'm going to turn it off. It's been 45 more minutes, and look at that. Wow. The second batch of smoke hit it beautiful. It's sweating nice, and I'll bet you that's still just, oh, so soft yet. I'm sorry, but that just tastes absolutely delicious, just putting the tip of my finger on it. Let's get it inside to the kitchen, and we'll see you in there. Time to pull it off the smoker. Well, it's dark outside, but boy, it's beautiful in here. Look at this beautiful smoked salmon. And because they sweat just a little bit in the smoker, I like to pat them down with a paper towel when they come in. Or you can just let them sit and it'll kind of soak back in. But come on over here and let me show you the inside of one of these. This is fantastic. This is just absolutely perfect. And by the way, you'll notice that these don't stick, because I took that same spray that Sheila puts on her popcorn, that butter spray, and I sprayed these grates down. And I did them all skinned down too, so they don't stick at all. I've been nibbling on this one over here, so I got to tell you already, wow. It is so moist. Look at that. Just beautiful. You talk about terrific. That's how I like it. Now, if you want to cook it till it's almost like salmon jerky, you can do that. I'm going to cool some of these down. I'm going to take my vacuum packer, which we also have another video about, and I'm going to vacuum seal some of these in some nice bags. In fact, I'm going to take a little break and show them to you. Ta-da! Don't you wish you were my neighbor at Christmas? I'd send some of this next door. You know, I got to tell you, these bags are only like 2 cents a piece, so I went ahead and sealed them, but I don't usually seal stuff up when it's hot like this, so I'll cut these open, let them cool down in the fridge, then reseal them because they're only 2 cents a piece. If you use a vac master instead of a food saver, watch that other video on our YouTube channel. Wow, this looks great. Great gifts for your friends. What a terrific recipe. And remember what we did. We put our salmon in our brine overnight. We rinsed it off. We laid it out on racks with a fan for about an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Put it in the smoker. 2 hours at 120 degrees, an hour at 160, and about another 45 minutes to an hour at 175 with 2 little batches of smoke. One at the beginning, one at the end. What a great product. I hope it works out for you. Mix and match. Try some different stuff. Cook it shorter time, more time, make it more firm, make it softer. You're the cook at your house. But we're the cook and cookess over here at our house. How you doing there, Miss Sheila? Doing a great job. It's kind of late night, so she's pretty quiet back there. I did smoke you into the evening a little bit, but hey, there's our little shotgun red logo up here or down here. It'll either be up here or down here. And we'll also have another recipe that tells you about something else that we do. But I hope you subscribe to our channel. That's the most important thing. And you'll be the first to know if we have a new recipe. Is this the best smoked salmon recipe and procedure of doing it right that you've ever tasted? If it ain't, it ought to be. This is Steve Hall in Nashville, Tennessee saying, I'm turning the camera off, get a couple Ritz crackers and a cold one and another piece of this and head for the couch. See you later.